Some St. Patty's Day show and tell for ya. Hey, it's Care. Welcome to my take at the lake. Actually, there's only one little bit of St. Patrick's Day show and tell, but I thought I'd lead with that. 'Tis the season, don't you know? Wanted to show you my updated new fun sprays. If you watched my watercolor videos recently, I may have mentioned that I want to get back to having all Winsor and Newton paints except for the wonderful opera and perhaps an indigo by somebody else, but I'm not sure yet. But I have all this Holbein beautiful paint. It's fine paint. I find it not creamy enough like Winsor and Newton artist quality, and I find the colors dull. Just Dullsville. That's the only way that I can explain it. Almost chalky, but not really. So, you know, when you get expensive watercolor, you kind of want, it's kind of precious to you, and you don't want to throw it in bottles and add water and make fun sprays, but I want the Holbein stuff to go away so then I can justify adding new colors to my palette or getting all new colors. So the Holbein paints, I have two sets, the regular series and the B series. I think there's 12 in each set, and I have two of the Holbein A series and one of the B series, I think. So I've got a lot of watercolor paint that I just don't care about. So you'll see me putting it in old book pages. You'll see me put it on fun sprays. You'll see me essentially wasting it as fast as I can to make it go away so that I can get new, shiny new Winsor & Newton artist quality, because maybe I'm just that set in my ways. I hate to think that that's the case, but maybe it is. I just like the other stuff better. So these were once made of food coloring. It's very simple. Food coloring in water, empty bottles my mom got for me at St. Vinny's, but you can get them anywhere. Regular old food color. These are the liquid food color. A lot of people swear by the gel food color, but use what you have. In fact, I'm going to put, this is a mixture of two of the Holbein colors, one of the blues and one of the bluer greens, because I wanted a nice teal, but it's pretty pale. And so while we're here, I'm just going to add some of the food coloring to beef that up a little bit. And there's no rhyme or reason. You put it in enough until it's dark. If that's too much, I will just add more water. It's not rocket science, and it's not life or death. So this is some brights. Regular food coloring works. The more colors, the better. But I just wanted to show you, if you're using gel food coloring, put warm water in it. The warm water will help melt the gel food coloring. Same thing with the watercolor. I just squeezed from the tube into here and added warm water. But you can see some of them they have sedimentary colors, and so these really need to be, I always shake them anyway, but you need to get rid of that sediment because that's where a lot of the color is. And so the watercolor fun sprays are just a tiny bit different. The violet didn't have any sediment at all, really. The red sometimes does. This isn't red. This is a tiny bit of opera and permanent rose or opera rose or crimson lake, maybe. I don't know. I don't know the names. The Winsor and Newton I used to be able to say backwards, forwards, and sideways. But the Holbein colors, they escape me. So whatever colors you have, and feel free to mix. Like I said, this is a blue and a green to get that teal. This, and some of the colors I dumped out. I hated the red that I had, so I just dumped that out, the red food coloring that I had, and made it with whatever red Holbein, the reddest red that I could find versus a pinky red. If you don't have green, of course, blue and yellow make green, so you can do that. Green has a little bit of sediment. This, I think, is a mix of a limey green and a green, because I wanted it that green, like a Christmas green. So the other day I was just ready. Let's just do this. So I made up a whole bunch, and they were full. I'll throw in a picture in here. I had them all full, but I've been at the fun spray spot a lot ever since. So I wanted to show you just a few of the things that I have done with them. So first thing I did was the teal, the pink, and the purple to get that. I wanted to see how they blend and bleed. I was hoping, and I think that I am happy with the outcome. I was hoping that because now they're watercolor, they would blend and bleed and mix a little bit better than the food coloring. And they sort of did. Not enough to matter. Like, food coloring was fine for forever. The salt effect that I like so much didn't happen a whole lot in the food coloring. And it sort of happens a little bit better. You can see here these little blotchy splotches. Some of those are water droplets. What I was hoping was I'd get more of the watercolor effect by using watercolor in my fun sprays versus food coloring. And that did happen. I did get a lot more bleeding and blending and a lot more dry backs. Now to do this, when I do this, I do it at the sink. And it's usually not just one layer. I did both sides of these particular ones. I spray them. I flipped them over and I sprayed them again, and then I let them just dry for a little bit, not 100%, and then I spattered some water on, and then I sprinkled some salt here and there while they were still a little wet. If it's too wet, the salt will just melt and do nothing. If it's too dry, the salt will just lay there and do nothing. So it's a bit of a timing thing. There should be just a little bit of sheen, just a little tiny bit of moisture still in that paint for that salt to work. Now, it didn't work nearly as well as I'd hoped, but I was cleaning house and making up packets for Etsy and doing all kinds of other things, so I wasn't paying attention to the timing, and it could be my fault versus this not working like I want. I just had, 1,000 things going on. Then I did the red, orange, and yellow on this one. Oh, and back to this one, I do more layers. If it's not dark enough, well, then I just hit it again, and then I hit it again until I get it. Now, food coloring is food coloring. It kind of stays about the same. It may dry back a whisper lighter than normal. Watercolors always dry back about 20%. So if it's really dark, know that it's going to dry back 20%. It's because it's watercolor, and that's what it does. So I just add layers until I'm happy with what it looks like. And then I did blue, teal, and blue, green, and yellow, I think is what this was. And I'm quite happy with the way these turned out. I have no idea what I laid this on, but I got some really cool imprints of some sort. I don't know what I did there, but they're probably laying on my dirty dishes that were in the sink. But I see a lot more play with the colors in this than I did with the food coloring. And then I went to the peachy. I love these colors. I call them sherbet colors. I just love them. And I just sprayed here and there and everywhere and let them mix and do their thing. And it doesn't look like I did much to these at all other than just spray them. This one, though, was a smush. This one was super wet, or one of them was really, really wet. So I put a clean paste on top and just kind of pulled almost a print, like as if in gel plate printing. And so it kind of got some interesting marks and some play in the colors. And this is just a misprint. Not really a misprint. It's that silly thing that the alignment page, when you put a new ink cartridge in and forget to hit and go ahead and hit OK before. I always hit cancel because I don't want to waste the ink. But once in a while I forget and I end up with these. But then I just play with them. I like that on this side of it. It's almost like a film strip look. What about this side? Well, I could paint it. I could glue stuff over it. I could glue this to a page and only see that side. I could make a pocket out of it and only see that side and have tucks and never know what's on the inside. So I love the effect that the watercolors that I've found so far, because I love the effect of the fun sprays on craft paper. I wanted to see that in action, and I quite like it. But again, because the watercolor dries back 20%, I had to put a lot of color on here. I think that's why these are so low so fast, is because the craft paper, because it's such a dark base, it took a lot to get the watercolor to show up on here. I also did some tags because I love doing these. These are just tags from towels, pillows, t-shirts, various clothing, but they turn out so awesome, and they make great tabs or toppers for tags or page tabs, or do a whole series of them. Some are printed on both sides, and that's all right. Some colors turn out better. I like this side better, so I would hold it like this and just put a whole bunch of them down the side of a page as a page edging. Look how nice that one turned out. I love it. It's got all the colors. It's just so pretty. And what I did with these is because I was doing all this stuff in the sink over a Walmart bag, there were all these puddles of color here and there on the Walmart bag. So I just dipped these in there. Some of them took a lot, you know, it did well, and some of them came out kind of blah, so then I just hit them again. But I love the interplay of the colors. Even that one with all the printing, because of all the color, doesn't that look like a tiny little book page? I just love it. I think they're so cool. Again, so many pretty things. I also did some material because I wanted to see how that came out. And again, it's very light. You know what? I don't know if I did this. I think this is one I did, but I know this is one I did. Very, very dull. Now, how it's so brown is I also added coffee spray to get that vintagey look versus the bright. So if I wanted these vintagey, I would just add some coffee while I'm doing it, or after. I don't think it would hurt. The other thing that I was hoping with the watercolor was, and again, it's all timing, is adding, as it's almost dry, throwing water at it to get more of the bleed backs and the blossoms, blooms, those kinds of things. I think had I been paying more attention, it would have worked better, but as I said, I was doing a lot of other things, so I will keep trying this. So that's my fun spray update. Another thing I wanted to show and tell, oh, I'm doing another project, and this is, I was using these as well. I'll show you that on another video. Maybe. Paper towel, white with a very simple print on it, and I was using this. It was all wadded up, and I was blotting the fun sprays off, or I was spraying the fun sprays and blotting it on, and when it was all done, I opened it up. It was just so cool. It's got that nice texture in it. It's almost like mommy got me. You know, this is what copy paper feels like when you mommy got me it, and so I'm gonna keep that. I don't know what I'm gonna do with it, but I'm gonna keep it. I got a fun little happy mail from my BFF Mary. Hi, Care. Just a couple of little fun items for you. Love, Mary. And she had all kinds of fun stamps. That's fun. She said I just used every stamp I had in the house because I didn't know how much it was going to cost. How fun is that? I can't believe I tore it. I was so excited. I wasn't even paying attention. She sent me a pupper. I'm getting her into glue booking, so she's perusing magazines, and I put her on the lookout. She knows to be on the lookout for dogs, but I put her on the lookout for my Geico gecko because they're getting hard to find, and she found me a couple for my collection. He's gonna be his own glue book one of these days, a little Geico gecko glue book. And she had this big, I have this bag too. These are one of those shopping bags from probably TJ Maxx. You know, they're nice, heavy, and we use them all the time. My family uses these to haul everything from, because we travel, you know, family Christmas downstate, family Thanksgiving up north, like everybody's traveling all the time, and we bring food and gifts to every event. And so we used the bejesus out of these, and hers was falling apart, and so she cut it up, which I'm so glad she did, because I would have tried to fix it. I'm so glad she cut it up. But look at that watercolor, Scotty. So each piece could be something, but I see dog journal covers for sure. And whatever is left over is that little guy. You know, you could cut it out. Even these, this could be part of a closure. This would make great tabs, tag toppers, or page tabs, page edging. This would be a great base for a snippet roll or more page edging. You know, you just take your bits and pieces and scraps and glue or sew them onto here, and then have that on as a page edging. I mean, there's so much to do with this, but see here, it's almost the perfect size already for a journal cover. Fold it the other way, and dang, there's a beautiful journal cover, and it's nice and hardy, you know. It's already cut in squares, so if you wanted to cut it up and make little journal cards, you could certainly do that. I mean, the possibilities of this are endless, and again, I'm so glad she already destroyed the bag, because I would have done everything to save it, even though I have my own. And the reason I'm bringing this to you, not only for the ideas for these bags, and if you have, you know, maybe you don't have one that has all these cool, you know, trade journal card possibilities, or embellishment, pre-made embellishments for you. Maybe you just have a plain one, or maybe you have one that has veggies all over it, or some. I think this would paint really well with acrylic paint. Acrylic paint sticks to darn near everything. So have a painty paper day one day, except use your old bags and make journal covers and make all kinds of things. You could paint this just as easily. So don't throw your bags away. Lots and lots of uses, especially if they're not paper. This is material. That's why I think it's TJ Maxx. Most of the copycat bags from, say, Big Lots or other places, they're a lot thinner, and this is made of paper or plastic. So I'm pretty sure this is a TJ Maxx bag. So in addition to the possibilities of these bags, I also wanted to say that's all that was in the envelope. A few geckos, a dog picture, a sweet note, and a ripped up bag. And I'm telling you what, that Happy Mail made my day. So don't think that you have to put out a $27 to mail package so full and heavy of books and book pages and embellishments and ephemera and magazine. $1 to mail it, and some cute little things. It doesn't have to be a huge momentous Happy Mail to make somebody's day. And I picked these up at a St. Vinny's haul. That's not true. It wasn't a haul. I went for a book. I found the book, and I always look in the craft section, because sometimes I find Tim Holtz products in there for next to nothing. I didn't find any Tim Holtz stuff, and they didn't do a haul video because it wasn't a haul, but I brought these home. There were a couple shoe boxes full of these, and so what I'm thinking is a crafter died and she had all these, or perhaps she made so many and they didn't sell at a craft fair, and so she put them up for St. Vinny's. I don't know, but they're clearly homemade, and I've not opened them, but I remember thinking, oh, that's an interesting project, and I bought them for the pattern because I haven't seen anybody do this, I don't think. So it's kind of heavy paper. I won't say cardstock, but it's way heavier than copy paper. Folded with a piece of scrapbook paper on top. Cut to fit. And open it up, and it's just this little, if you glue these down, it'd be a sort of a tiny gusseted pocket, so you could fit stuff in there, a little notebook in there or something. There's a nice tiny little spine here, so you could either sew a little signature in here or tie a little signature in here. Put a little dollop of glue or those tiny little Velcro dots, just little Velcro dots, and there it is. This is scored as well, so there's another spine here. So This might be too close because it's right on that. It's right on that spine. This might be too close for this signature. You could put one here too. Just make your pages a little bit narrower. And then if you sewed one on this side, keep it close to this crease so that it would lay nice. Anyway, there were bags and bags of them. Different colors. Certainly you could put, this feels like a cheap manila folder, Dollar Tree manila folder perhaps. You could put a gift card. Oh, this one is glued. Put a gift card in there and a little note and send it off in the mail. I'm not sure what the point of the spines are though, if it's not meant for a journal or some kind of bulk. Going through the mail like that seems like it would be troublesome for the mail machines. Seems like things would catch in there. So maybe you won't mail it. Maybe these are just tucked into journals. All kinds of colors. I got the one that had the most colors in it, I think, are the colors that I liked, because there were every color under the rainbow. This has some fun typeface pattern on it. Aren't they just cute? But I kind of felt bad for whoever the crafter is, that they didn't all sell, or like I said, maybe she or he passed away, and the family's just like, what are we gonna do with all this stuff she made? Can you imagine? Very cute. Very cute, very cute. I also got this. I mentioned it on one of the watercolor videos. It's really kind of cool. It's got this ghost print in the back. Artsy stuff. Color swatches. But it's so far in the background you don't notice it until you're really up close. But then she's got the spatters, and these are like little piles of dry pigment, and then watering them out. Maybe tempera paint, perhaps. Who knows? Just fun. Nice little, this is definitions, sort of cut off, and some. She may not have them cut off. Remember, I print everything large and borderless, and so maybe it all should be there. I don't know. I just love all this stuff. There are several of these out there, but this one was the most reasonably priced. Perhaps it was on sale. Look at that blue, practically glows next to that deep indigo. Ooh, that's nice. Some fun color wheels, color spheres, some beautiful script font. Pretty, pretty. Moist color. Winsor and Newton. Yes, yes, send me some moist color. Some nice creamy color, please. Just fun. They could be, I'm going to reprint these with my digital coffee dye. Because again, I don't have a laser printer, so if I get this wet, it'll smear and bleed and look like crap. But I can run it through my regular printer with a digital coffee design, digital coffee dyed paper look, and this will be a beautiful page for my artsy art journal. Lots of journaling cards to be made, ATCs if you want to jazz them up, more ephemera, some fussy cutting, an old label. That's awesome. I just love seeing art supplies painted in watercolor. There's just something about it that just sends me. I can totally see me buying every art kit like this that's on Etsy because I just think they're so cool. I'm kind of bummed that this entire kit, vintage white, but sort of vintage. I mean, you can see that it is a little off-white. White, bright white, bright white, bright white, bright white. I'd have thrown a sepia, I don't know, layer, I guess in Photoshop is what you say. I would have put a sepia. I'd have vintage those out. You can put Tim Holtz's vintage photo real lightly, you know. You can vintage it up. I lost my dauber. I've lost my vintage photo. I lost my vintage photo dauber, so I had to make one out of another one out of an old wooden spool with one of the dauber things on it. I lost a package from Jean Bainey in this mess of a studio. I have lost my Staedtler version of Micron pen set. Oh, see, isn't that much better than bright white? I'm doing vintage. Why? Why would you just leave it bright white? I don't understand it. But it's easy enough to fix. Easy enough to fix. If this was all... I had a kit one time that was all vintage. It was for Thanksgiving. It was all vintage like these are. But all the fussy cuts were on white. And so like this, the whites inside the fussy cutting were bright white, which looks like crap against a vintage something, right? It just, to me, shatters the illusion that it's a vintage project. And so if I had a whole page instead of 4 little items that needed to be toned down a little bit, I would take a screenshot of this whole thing, put it up to Canva, and put a filter on it, or a layer of coffee dyed paper, and take the transparency down probably 75-80%, so it just knocks back that bright white to something a little less obnoxious. Super easy to do. I will link that playlist at the end of this video if you want to know how to alter the digital kits you buy. It's so easy to do, and sometimes it makes a huge difference. There. Now I can sleep tonight. It's not screaming white for no good reason. It's knocked back a little bit. You know, because vintage is vintage. Kind of like, I don't want your peanut butter mixing with my chocolate. I want what I want, and I can usually get it. Anyway, very, very cool kit. There's a lot more pages to it. I just didn't print them out yet for some reason. And finally, in my Seasons glue book that I am working on in collaboration with Amy at Doki Doki Forest, in our collaboration called hashtag using the same images, and we're doing it each season, so we're gonna have to set up a phone call here pretty quick and harvest some springtime magazines that we have collected. Anyway, we did fall, and Christmas was a crafter's choice in that we did not harvest all these things together. We just found what we wanted to use because Christmas is part of the winter season. And so we decided to do the same thing with St. Patty's Day. And I am telling you what, I was scraping the bottom of the barrel for this bad bear. I went through I probably have 1,000 magazines, and I just went looking for the date. Nothing from March or February. That if it was February, it was all Valentine's Day. I had nothing for St. Patty's Day, nothing at all. So I was going to do, I told Amy I had a plan B. I was going to do daylight savings time. Thus all the watches. I was cutting out watches. And I wanted clocks because we turned the clocks back. I looked through Home and Garden magazine. I looked through HGTV magazine. I looked through a catalog that has everything from tennis shoes to toys and back again. I found one clock. And so, holy man. And so Amy sent me a picture. She was having a similar problem, and she said, I found one thing so far. And we both had the same Dollar Tree hang tag. And I'm like, Hank, hashtag using the same images. We both had just the one. So I found an old card in my cards of all places, St. Patty's Day card. He had green. He was running in the green grass. My Post-it note has green on it. Green grass. I found this one tiny little beverage napkin. And don't you know, it was one of the cheap ones where you open it all up and only one of the corners of the 4 of the napkin was printed. That's all I had. My mom brought me over a little garden flag. It was rainy and crappy and cold, and I just didn't feel like putting it out because I knew it would blow away. It was so super light. Don't tell my mom, but I cut it up. It's just, thanks, Mom. And this is what the tag was from, a Dollar Tree garden flag. So I disassembled the whole thing. I took the ribbon out. I cut out the cute little hat that had all these cute little things, and it was a white flag with gold coins falling, and then the hat was at the bottom. So then I just cut out all the gold coins. And then I remembered in my little sticker collection, I had the tiniest little glitter shamrocks. And there's 2 sizes on the sheet. These and a smaller size. And so that was the last thing. Oh, and I had some of these goofy green tickets. But I'm real happy with how it came out. I love that, thanks, Mom, for the flag. These cheap flags with our weather, they don't weather well. And so I probably would have gotten a week or two's use out of this, and then I would have had to throw it away. Where this way, it's there forever, right? I wanted to keep the daylight savings time because that's a big deal. You know what that means? Lake season is coming. Yes, it is. I wanted to keep the tag because, hashtag using the same images. And I'm quite happy with how it turned out. So even though you think you might not have anything, I mean anything at all, of course I could have resorted to the internet. I could have found all kinds of stuff. I could have found pictures of Bono and U2 because they're Irish, and Guinness beer because that's Irish, and Boston Terriers with beer because that's fun. I could have gone to the internet, but I did not. Forces you to be a little more creative. Speaking of digital images, I mentioned that our next spread is going to be spring and Easter, that Amy and I are going to set up a call and we'll harvest together, do what we've done in the past. I found some spring magazines in doubles, so I sent her spring magazines. So we already have our magazines. We don't have to search like we had to search for the winter magazine that ended up being Birds and Blooms, but they're older magazines, and I will show you what they are. Hang on, I have them. I got them here somewhere. So these are the 2 that I found doubles in at St. Vinny's. This one is Good Housekeeping from April of last year. So it's not that old. You may have this in your stash. If you have it and it's intact, you can play along. Watch our harvest video, harvest the same images that we do, and then put them together in your glue book. Oh, we're harvesting them. Aww. On a brighter note, let's look at this one. Heckin' good. This is funny. All right, we're gonna end on a happy note with that. If you have this one and it's intact, because you want to have as many of the images as we do, right? So there's Good Housekeeping, April of 2023. She has one. I have one. I also sent her this one, Woman's Day, May of 2023. So again, not very old at all. Plenty to play with. Some food, some bright colors, some spring stuff, some Easter things. So if you have either or both of these, you can play along. We've also decided to do digital kits for those people who want to play along but don't have the magazines, which is what we did for winter. We each came up with 4 pages of digital images for winter, and she gave me her 4 and I gave her my 4, and then we had 8. We each had 8. Her 4, my 4, makes 8. And we each put them free on our Patreon so that people could play along. Here's a little crabby crafter rant. I got a comment, and I wish I'd have left it, but I didn't know what it meant, so I deleted it. You know, I'm not sure if it's code for scam her because she's a small channel. I don't know. I didn't know what it meant, so I just deleted it. You're out of here, because I don't know what you were talking about. It wasn't a foreign language. It was just a thing. It was needling at me, and so I asked Dr. Google, what does this mean? And it means promo so much. Promo, promo, SM, so much. Promo so much. And I could hear that commenter, oh, you're just promoting yourself so much on Patreon. You want us to join your page. It's free, and it's not for me. It's a lot of fucking work for me to get you a free digital. I'm not promoting myself. I'm giving away free goodies, you ignorant wench. Oh, had I known, she and I'd have had a little chat in the comments section, and you'd have found a little crabby crafter rant in the bottom of the comments. Promo so much. Pardon me, kiss my arse. Next, and I'm back. Okay, so we're gonna do the same thing. And I have an announcement to make about the Crabby Crafter rants. I think it's going to be great fun, and I hope you like it. I hope you let your snarky side play, because it is going to be really fun. At least for me. One of us is going to enjoy it. More on that in an upcoming, hopefully soon, video. What we're doing, so you can play along for free, and the only place we have to put free stuff is our Patreon page, so that's what it is. Yes, I know you can use Google Docs, but that makes me very nervous. Like, anyone can get into Google. Versus our Patreon pages are a little more private. Maybe that's just me being paranoid, but I do that now and again. So we're going to do a spring Easter digital so that you have, and I'm including Easter in that because these are both spring Easter eggs. Anyway, so spring and Easter, my 4 will not have any butterflies in it, just so you know. So that you can play along if you want to. The last round, I know that Christina at Christina's Shack played along, and Coralie at Magic by the Ocean played along, and it was so awesome to see that they were playing along. And Christina in Australia doesn't do snow very often, and she's like, that's kind of weird. And it's in the middle of summer when we did this for her. It's hot. She's got the AC on. Actually, Coralie's in Australia too, now that I think about it. I think. What fun to play in the snow, right? So I hope you two ladies play along with the spring one as well. And if you're new to this, if you've not heard any of this before, please feel free. Go back and get the winter digital kits and play along. When we have the spring ones out, we will let you know so that you can go get them and glue along. Super fun. Super, super fun. I hope you have a fabulous St. Patty's Day and enjoy the season, and that spring's on its way, and that means lake season is around the bend. Till we meet again, you go love, love, love up your beastlies. Have a Guinness for me. Mate at the lake. Out for now.